Hi, let's talk specifics on these ukuleles, shall we? So now that we've got the ukuleles built, now I want to talk a few specifics about each one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring each one of them up one at a time. Strum a few notes for you, give you the specifics, and tell you about just some interesting facts from that particular build. So without further ado, let's talk about ukulele number one. All right. So ukulele number one is my Sopranissimo, right? It's this bad boy right here. This is the one that's been featured primarily in the pictures from the last two videos, right? This is build number 71. So Sopranissimo, she's 11-inch scale, finished build length from the tip of the head here to the tail, not including the strap button, is going to be 19 and 7/8 inches long. Her tuning is GCAE, and she sounds like this. Now, one thing to note, so the fret scale template or the scale length template or bridge placement template from MGB is a little off on these. So when MGB first released this kit, he had originally designed it based on an 11.5-inch scale, but wound up coming back to an 11-inch scale. However, the bridge placement template was still, as part of the original release, was at 11.5 inches. So what I ended up having to do was I placed the bridge placement template, right? And then I took my yardstick and I measured it out, and sure enough, the saddle would have come to right at 11.5 inches. So then what I did was carefully lift the template off, slide the bridge up a little bit, remeasured, and sure enough got to 11 inches, right? So the template still helped. It was, still, you know, because it did give me some place to start and then I could dial in, right? Now, it's kind of hard to tell, but I did bugger a little bit when I built this bad boy. Um, I got slightly off right and left on my bridge placement. I got the bridge a little too close to the bass side, right? Um, doesn't make a whole lot of difference. If you get real far off, I mean, your string alignment will get crazy. But I think I probably, maybe was an eighth of an inch off, something like that, quarter inch off. Um, Still was able to get her strung up and tuned up. And now tuning may be slightly off. I just tuned these up right before I started filming, but these nylon strings, one thing about them is that they will take their time to fully stretch and get settled. But so that's our Sopranissimo. A lot of fun. Um, no real challenges with this one. Such a short scale, not hard to get lined up. Um, but but you definitely want to make sure that you line your bridge placement up. Make sure that you get everything lined up correctly. Next, we're going to come to our soprano. Soprano, not a whole lot of difference. So 13.5-inch scale length for a finished build of 21.25 inches, tuning just like on the Sopranissimo's GCAE. Sounds like this. You can see, the bridge starts migrating a little further south. I think I got this one, got this bridge a little on the off, a little closer to the base side than I would have liked, but all in all, nothing real crazy with this one. Like I said, I think she sounds pretty good. I like her. So yeah, yeah, got everything kind of all shined up and everything. Now with these sound hole covers, um, you can kind of see there how it looks. How you got some stuff going on in here, right? Where the espresso stain didn't quite take as well. So these covers, interesting fact about them is that they come with a finish already on them. So I think I said it in my other video with those, if you want to stain or do something else with them, you really want to get an aggressive, I want to say like electric sander, palm sander, something with an 80 grit, because you want to make sure, or even 60 grit, because you want to make doggone sure that you get all that finish off. That way you get to bare wood, so that way any other stains or finishes will stick. So that's our soprano. Moving up next, we have our concert uke. Now this one, she came together real well for me. Um, no issues. Um, you can see the bridge migrates a little further south. Same issues going on with the sound hole cover. Um, I got this time I got that bridge placed a little closer to center, but she's a 15-inch scale length with a total finish length, and again, finished build length is from the tip of the head here to the tail, right? Not including the button, but we got 23 inches. Tuning is GCAE. So she has a little bit deeper sound. Now, I did have kind of some, I don't know if when I strung it up the first time, I just kind of messed up, but I was having some trouble getting the strings to stay in tune. Ended up popping a string, so I put another set on here. Um, but yeah, her tone starts getting a little deeper. Um, but with this one, again, I mean, same espresso with the cherry front. Now, if you look real close in there, you can't really see it with the light, but some of that espresso bled over, right? Um, and so now, when I bring up the tenor, um, you'll notice some things going on with this. So I kind of got the bright idea that I might take some masking tape and line the edges to prevent the bleed over. Well, that didn't really work, and so now when I bring up this tenor, you're going to see what I affectionately call a happy accident. So kit number 4 is my tenor. Um, she's a 17-inch scale length. Finished build length is 23.75. Tuning is still GCAE. Um, but gets a little bit deeper sound as well. Now, if you look close, like at the edges here, right? So, and this particular box it was a little bit lighter. It was a little bit lighter to begin with the unfinished. But so what happened? I had put my tape basically all all along, right? Um, and then came along, came along. Obviously, before I installed the neck, um, but the cherry that I'd stained the top with here was dry to the touch, but wasn't fully cured. So when I go to pull that tape, not only did I still get bleed over from the espresso from the sides, but then there was just like sticky residue from the tape, right? And of course, that's kind of gross. That's not going to work. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to refinish the top here. So in order to get the sticky residue off, I got my electric palm sander with 80 grit sandpaper, and I got kind of aggressive down in here because that's where a lot of the sticky was, and over here where a lot of it was. Wound up taking off a little too much material, which kind of hurt, like okay. But when building these things, cigar box guitars, ukuleles, whatnot, um, sometimes you're going to make a mistake. You're going to slip. You're going to miscalculate something, and what ends up happening is you either find a way to fix it or make it part of the build. And in this case, I thought, well, it gives it this kind of relic look now, which I'm kind of digging, right? And then too, because you got the sound hole cover going where the finish, the stain didn't quite take, and I'm like, okay, well, this is pretty cool, right? Now it looks kind of relic. It almost looks intentional, right? Um, so my my right left on my bridge is again a little off. I've got to work on that. Using that template is good, but if you lift the template before you start drilling your holes and stuff like that, even if you've marked it, and then sometimes too, what'll cause that is so you got your neck in there, but you don't have the nut on, so the neck's not secure. So you bump it a little bit, and then the neck kind of goes a hair sideways. You don't really see it. So that's one of the things you got to kind of check for. Make sure everything is straight and everything's lined up. Um, but yeah, again, this one, turned out beautiful. I love just doing this with these ukes, right? Just because, just strumming these strings individually like this. All right. Um, but yeah, now when stringing these things, I like to do these what I call Mike's way. Now, if you're familiar with Jersey Mike's, the sub shop, right, or sub restaurant, whatever. So you go in there, you get your sandwich, and get all your toppings and whatnot on it, and then you can tell them do it Mike's way, and that tells them what some vegetables or some dressings or whatever to put on the sandwich. Well, when I say Mike's way, and I'm referring to tuning a ukulele or stringing a ukulele. So MGB has a video. Mike Breedlove, he does this great video showing you how to install the strings, right? So he shows you how to come down here and put the strings in, bring them up, get your little knots, and then you know, and then curl them down and go under each other. But then he shows you how to come up and with a steel string guitar, you're gonna want to give yourself like like a 4 finger space, like bring the string up, give 4 fingers above the fretboard, and then put the end of the string in the tuner and bring it around and give it a little bend. You don't do that with these nylon strings just because they stretch so much. So what you want to do is actually bring this up kind of almost, not like super tight. You don't want to torque it, but go ahead and just stretch it to its full length. Bring it into the post, curl it around or wrap it around a couple of times, good tight wraps, and then bring it back through the post um, and then start turning it and putting tension on the string. So, I watched that video and that's how I learned to do these. And since Mike Breedlove from MGB did the video, I call it Mike's way. And I don't think he invented that method. I think somebody probably taught him, but it's still pretty cool. You should check it out, especially if you build one of these things. But now it's time to bring up our final ukulele. So that's going to be our baritone uke number 5. Um, the biggest of the bunch. If I can get this page to turn over here so I can get my stats. Here we go. The biggest of the bunch and the most different of the bunch, right? So, 20-inch scale length, 25 and 5/8 inch overall length from head to tail. The tuning is different on this, right? Instead of the GCAE, like on the other 4, this one um, is tuned basically. You're taking it'd be your top 4, but it looks like the bottom 4 just because the way guitars are held. Um, Up here is referred to as the bottom. Down here is referred to as the top. So it's like, think of it opposite, right? Um, just like going, working the fretboard, right? So this is working up the fretboard. This is going down the fretboard. All right. So it's opposites. Makes no sense to me, but hey, whatever. So anyway, um, so here you've got D, G, B, E. And again, it might be a little off. I just tuned this right before, but again, with these nylon strings, um, they take a while to settle, because they're going to stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch some more. But if you hear that, take like a regular, like a classical guitar, and just um, strum the 4 strings, the top 4 strings, right? So again, D, G, B, E. Now with this one, you'll notice, first of all, it's very evident that I got my bridge too far to the bass side, too close to the bottom, if you will. But the bridge here is actually resting right on the tail edge, right? The tail of the bridge is right on the tail edge. I think looking back, I probably should have gotten the Easy Box XL for this one, because the Easy Box Extra Large, it's a little thicker, it's a little wider, but the big thing is it's about 2 inches longer. Would have given me more room to work with. I mean, I literally did not have any more room. So yeah, I couldn't go anywhere else with that bridge. Like I said, I should have gotten it a little more centered. Now, the fretboard, you'll see 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There are 18 frets here. This fretboard was originally 19 frets and actually hung down to um, trying to. And actually, the fretboard kind of came down to about there originally. Um, so what I ended up doing was pulling out the 19th fret, taking a flush cut saw, and sawing the fretboard off at that point. Just that way, I would get the fretboard up above the sound hole and be able to have room to put my cover on, right? Um, so that was just kind of a unique thing that happened with this. Little bit of a mess up with the staining, um, but yeah. So these baritone ukes, they are a little different from the rest, right? First time I've actually built one of these, but I enjoyed this build too. It had its challenges. All of them, like I said, they kind of had their challenges. Each one they're different. Even though, I mean, you can see they all pretty much consist of the same components. You got your tuners, your nut, your bolt-on neck, your bridge and saddle, right? And then the bridges all have these little cover pieces in there, and they've got screws that go inside there, right? So all five of these kits have the same type of components. But again, you're dealing with different scale lengths, um, different fretboard overhangs. Like on that Sopranissimo, right? The fretboard barely overhangs the box at all. As a matter of fact, it actually made it kind of tricky to when I went to figure out where this direction the neck was going to go, because the fretboard would just barely touch the box. It kind of made it hard for me to center it up there. But anyway, I highly recommend these kits. I'm going to go end up leaving a review on MGB's site, um, on all of these kits, just because they are fun to build. I recommend them. Now, yes, I talk about MGB all the time, wearing the hat. Um, no, I am not a paid advertiser. I just, like I said in one of my earlier videos, Mike Breedlove, he's a friend of mine, takes care of me. Um, does he does good business. He stands by his products. Customer service is fantastic. Um, but anyway, get one of these kits, build it. Whether you get some accessories like strap buttons or corner pieces or sound hole covers, that's up to you. If you want to use the easy box, great. If you've got another box that you want to put it on, awesome. I've built 3 other ukuleles and used other boxes. Um, and like I said in the last video, you can realistically put the thing together in an hour and a half. Um, if you do nothing else but put the bridge, put the neck, put the strings, put the tuners in the headstock. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop me a comment. Um, if there's questions or whatnot, feel free to ask. But I hope you have a good evening, and we'll see you on the flip side.